Welcome back to Men's Dialogue. As we promised you that we're going to have this interview with Dr. Charles OdameAnkrah, the president of Ghana Association in Calgary, Canada. We are here today, and of course, he's ready for us to go. So today's interview is brought to you by BB Labs. So let's take a commercial break and we'll be right back.
Hello everyone, this is Benedicta Odame-Ankrah, the CEO of Benedicta's Beauty Lab. I have with me here our Diamond Shea Butter Cream, which is well formulated to fight dandruff and hair loss condition. Please go to our website as you see the link below, order yours. You can also call us on the number below and you can order yours. We also have one formulated for hand as well. Check all of them out at bbelabs.com.
Welcome back, viewers. We have in our studio Dr. Charles OdameAnkrah. So we will turn our attention to him and he will give us a brief introduction and background about himself. So welcome, Doctor.
How are you? Thank you very much, Evans.
I'm good, and you?
I'm good.
So could you give us a little introduction about yourself and your background as well?
As you rightly said in your introduction, my name is Charles OdameAnkrah, and born in Ghana. I grew up in the eastern region in a town called Boso, and did my primary school education there, went to secondary school in the Volta region at Hawaii, and then had my undergraduate program at University of Cape Coast, where I studied chemistry. So graduated from Cape Coast University, then I moved to the US on a scholarship to read my master's, and then after that got another scholarship to read my PhD program in Canada. And right after that, I got a job with Global Analyzer Systems as a developer of new instruments, and that's what I've been doing. And we develop new instruments to monitor air quality using lasers. So in brief, that is who I am.
That's nice. So air quality, do you plan to sell them or you are already selling them?
That's a good question. We the new ones that are coming up, we're planning to sell them across the world, because it's a cutting-edge technology that will change how air quality monitoring is done. And then there are existing ones that are already being sold and used. And it is my dream that one day such devices will go to Ghana to monitor the quality of the air in Ghana.
Well, then we are also proud to have someone of our own. Now let's come back to this interview. So our first interview with you is about who is a man? What does it mean to be a man? There has been so many conversations about who a man is. Some people define it as a man is someone who has a muzzle. A man is someone who can take 3, 4, 5, 6 girlfriends, and so on. So to you, who is a man?
Well, thank you very much, Evans, for the question. As we know, biologically, as a scientist, if you ask me who a man is, we know anatomically there's something that distinguishes a man from a woman. And we know which is the sexual organs. That has come under scrutiny, or it has been subjected in the social circles to definition of feeling. So someone will feel like a man, and you need to accord that person that respect as well, which is still very debatable and controversial, because people are still stuck with the traditional definition of a man based on the person's sex organ. And me as a person, I relate to the definition of a man based on the person's sex organ, because fundamentally that is a fundamental difference between a man and a woman. Let's take our feelings, let's take our appearances, let's take everything aside. That is a very big distinguishing feature, and nobody can argue about that. It's very fundamental. So if you ask me who a man is, I would say a man is somebody who you can distinguish from a woman based on anatomical sexual organs. Now, when you move from there, over over the years, society has also shaped the definition of a man. So when you are born, the day you are born, they look at you, oh, it's a girl, it's a boy. And society from there takes over based on structures that has been in place for so many years. And everybody tries to follow that path. But that is society, and every society is very different. So if you go to India, if you go to Ghana, if you go to Kenya, if you go everywhere, you realize that how society, the structures that society has set up in these two, well, with these two sexes, is quite distinct. And that is an entirely different conversation that we can go into later.
That's interesting. So how will you describe what it means to be a man?
I will describe what it means to be a man from my background. And as I said, and I'm with one, a man is born with a very specific sexual organ. That's the first one. But what it means to be a man, or what it takes to be a man, is defined by society, cultures, norms. And these things have been handed over from generations to generations. So right now, you can give a very crisp definition of expectations of a man. That has nothing to do with the person's sexual organs. But the sexual organ predisposes you to either you are a man or you are a woman. So if you want to say what it takes to be a man, first you must be born a man. Okay? And when I say if first you have to be born a man, it means that you need to have that sexual organ to be classified as such. Alright? And then now you move into the social construct. How has society set up a man to mean? Let's go to Ghana. Who is a man? We are taught as boys, we grow up, we taught to marry. Usually we perform we go ask a woman's hand in marriage and marry her. We take care of our children as the father in the family. We are the head of the family based on biblical and cultural foundations. We assume that role. So we can see that society, religion, ascribes certain roles that we all follow. And those roles have been shaken a bit, but every culture is very unique. So in Ghana, you see a man being in charge of primarily his family. He has to take care of his family. He has to provide for his family. He has to protect his family. And he is the one who will have to go and ask a woman's hand in marriage. In other places, it's the other way around. The woman goes to ask the man's hand in marriage. So, as I said, the social construct of who a man is very different. You know. Another thing is children take their father's last names. It's changing a bit now with single mothers and absentee fathers. The children take after their mom's last name, and that is perfectly fine because they are the one working and taking care of this case. But in the norm of man and woman, you see that most of the time the children will take the man's last name, which puts the man in a very powerful position in the family construct, that he is the head, he directs affairs, he is the protector, he is the provider of the family.
So, growing up in Ghana, how did you feel like being a man?
Well, it's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of pressure on you to be successful. There's a lot of pressure on you to provide, be the breadwinner, as they call it, the breadwinner for your family. You know, in Ghana, when you give birth to a male, there's so much joy because it is expected that that male is supposed to inherit your properties, right? So right from birth, boys are given a certain expectations as to whether they are capable of handling that expectation or not. You are born into it and you accept it. So and when you come here, it's the same. Men, although
I'll come to here.
Yes,
I want to concentrate on
in Ghana. So when you go to Ghana, you realize that boys, all through their training, have expectations such as I'm going to get married. Hey, when you're 25, you hear the question, when are you getting married? Have you found a woman? Do you have a job? Economically, as a man in Ghana, you cannot be poor. That is an expectation. You need to have a means to provide for your family. And by family, I mean your wife, your children, and your parents. And even society. So, society, family puts a lot of burden on men. And that has been rebranded as power. So, when you're on the other side, you think that, oh, men have so much power. I see it as men have so much responsibility and burden. And right from infancy, that is imbibed in us. That to an extent that even if your wife earns more than you, she's expecting you to provide for the family. It is an expectation. Very unrealistic. There are very little families in Ghana. I don't know the percentage, but you can believe that it may be less than very close to zero. Where the woman provides everything and the man does nothing. No. Even when a man does not have money, he has to find means. He has to go and borrow. He has to use every means possible to provide for his family. So that puts a lot of pressure on the man to ensure that his generation, his children, and there's a saying in our community that says, oh, everyone is looking up to you. Your children are looking up to you. Society is looking up to you. I am not saying women do not have those responsibilities. But I'm saying the cultural burden of being a man from Africa. So you don't have an excuse to be lazy. You don't have an excuse to be poor. The only excuse you have is when you are sick and you cannot provide. Then that is understandable that physically you are not able to provide. Then they will support you.
That brings me to a question. So, with what you've given right now, the burden, the pressure that is being on man, the definition of a man in Africa, especially in Ghana. Today, we can see there's so many crimes going on that are related to men.
Yes.
Do you think these are some of the pressures on men or the responsibility that is being imposed on men? It's extend to people who doesn't have, like if they struggle, they cannot get it, they feel like, okay, then I have to go and rob, I have to go and steal.
Yes.
Do you think this can have effect on how people's behaviors in the country?
Absolutely. Let me give you a typical example. I mean, you hear when we graduated from university, the first thing we're looking for were jobs. From university, you're looking for a job, settle, start taking care of your mom and dad if you don't have. Those of us who are coming from families where our parents have gone through a lot to provide for us, you know that there's that need to do so, to step up. And there's a saying in our army, say, that is a very deep saying.
Born a man.
Sorry for you if you are born a man. And in our society, what it means is that you are a man, you are responsible for all of these things. So the crime rate that we are seeing has a direct correlation with the high rate of unemployment among these young men. Because these young men all have the same aspirations as you and I, to be successful, marry, and have children. And if they are married and they have children, they need to provide for their family. So if you are hungry, you get angry. And from that anger, everything becomes normal. You need to survive by hook or crook. So then you see these boys gravitating towards crime. Because they need to do that to provide for their family. Sometimes you will go in and rise while you were robbing. He has found a very beautiful woman, and the woman is giving him pressure to come and marry him. So he has to provide the means to go and marry the woman. He goes into robbery to do so. So that's what I'm saying. There's a lot of pressure on men. But it has become a norm. It has been normalized. So we don't talk about it. So much so that even when we are going through depression, when we are going through anxiety, we go through a lot of them. You're not able to air it. Because when you say it, they'll say you are not be a man. why are you complaining? As a man, you don't have to complain. You have to provide. So society has set us up in such a way that we have to deal with everything without complaining.
That's what we are doing now, mental dialogue. That's what we are trying to redefine what masculinity is, and that is one thing you've talked about. Now, before I come back to what it means to be a man in Canada to you, how did you do it in Ghana when you were going through all these pressures?
First and foremost, you need to find a way out. You need to find a way out, and your way out is ensure that you are economically viable. You have something that is giving you money through jobs. And in Ghana, our best option is to go to school. You go to school, go to university, and the unfortunate for you, if you don't have parents who can push you through the academic ladder, then you fall by the roadside. And then you go into artisanship, and which those days wasn't that lucrative. But right now, I'm glad to see that artisans are getting paid well for their work, and they are able to sustain their families. You know, and that is why most of the time we hear that the risk of high blood pressure, stroke in men is high. It is the pressure from society on men. You understand? And as I remember, when I was very young, I was always looking out for an opportunity to ensure that I can provide. And today, everybody is looking up to you. When Christmas is coming, sometimes you want to turn your phone off and disappear. The women don't get the same pressure. They don't. No matter how wealthy the woman is, they do not get the same pressure as they would get a man who is half as wealthy as the woman. Because society expects you, the man, to provide. So those kind of pressures, the advantage it has given us men is that it spurs us on to success. It gives you a positive drive. That is why you see a lot of men, I will not use the word, more aggressive, like go-getters, because of the pressure society is putting on them. So they go, 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 go. To understand that even when a woman sees an opportunity that she can perfectly perform and excel, she would rather prefer the husband to take that opportunity. Because the woman also wants the husband to look good in society. When a woman has money, she will give it to the husband so that the husband will look good. There's another saying in our language. They say, "Obato tua." When a woman buys a gun, keeps it in a man's room, which is a very heavy adage. That tells you that you, the man, you are supposed to use that gun to protect her, to go and hunt and provide for the family. So we all use that to survive. So after school, one struggling for jobs weren't coming. I was teaching in high school and then got an opportunity to go study in America. I left in search of better opportunities so that my family will have a better stand. Women don't have the same pressure.
Yeah, I think one thing you said, women do not have same pressure. It's a big quote. But we entreat our women to also listen to us sometimes because we go through a lot.
Yes.
But they do not understand us because we pretend that we don't go through, but it's a very heavy thing that we
It's a very heavy burden. And you know, sometimes that is why when a man is at home and he doesn't have money, he feels broken. He feels that all his power has been taken away from him. To an extent that he feels insulted if the woman should give him money. He feels it should have been the other way around. It has become our norm. But should it have been so? It's a question we need to.
Yeah, it's a question we will discuss with. Let me come back to Canada. You migrated from Ghana to US.
Yes.
To do your masters and then finally to Canada. So all these feelings from Ghana when you were back home, you had an experience being a man. US, you had an experience being a man. Finally in Canada, how do you define yourself being a man in Canada?
Well, first and foremost, when you come here, you have a culture shock. You realize that when you come to Canada, a man's role is very similar to what we are been brought up to believe a man provides for the family. Still in Canada, the men take the initiative to marry the women. Although it is changing now, a man usually will propose to a woman and you see them crying and all emotional. Yeah, hopefully one day it will change and then the women will start proposing and marrying us. Which will be, I would love a woman to spend on me,
Yeah.
Yes, so, but when it comes to the home, the dynamics are different. Because Canada, the system is set up very differently from Ghana. And if you permit me, I will spend a little bit of time on this. When you come to Canada, it's set up such a way that a man's income likely or most often will not be enough to keep the home. Okay? Likely or mostly will not be enough to keep the home. So you need the woman to work to bring more income. Okay. I'll keep it there. Let's keep that thought. Secondly, we come here with a mentality that I am supposed to provide everything for my family. Okay? Your wife expects you to provide everything for the family because she's also coming from the same background. So sometimes some of the conflict that has ensued in most marriages has been based on money. Because the man comes here, he is working, making, let's say, an X amount. He spends maybe 95% of his income on the family. The woman works and keeps her money. So at the end of the day, the man feels cheated. But that becomes a problem of culture. Because when we start telling the woman to bring that money into one pot, it becomes a problem. Because she thinks, this is my money. This is not your money. Because we're coming from a culture where the man is supposed to provide. But when you come to typical Canadian families, it is a pooled resources. So it takes a lot of time for people who have moved here to understand that when you come here, the woman must also understand that Canada is different. You have to work and contribute to the upkeep of the home. The man must also work and contribute to the upkeep. And sometimes the women earn more money because practically it's impossible for the man most of the time. There's some men who have excellent jobs. Their wives can stay at home, no problem. But most of the time, when you're an immigrant and you move here and you start with 1-2 answer jobs, you need your wife to support. And that is what brings a lot of issues. And sometimes men start going through the feeling of, I have lost my power. Okay? This is the problem. I have lost my power. When we were in Ghana, I was the one calling the shots. But now, I think I'm losing that power. Because that power was being held in place by his financial authority. But right now, that financial authority has crumbled. It's no more there. Because the woman may be earning more than him. So now, instead of renegotiating and living together in harmony, it starts to bring animosity among them. Because of culture. But these things happen without people paying attention. They don't even realize that it is a problem until it blows up. And sometimes when it blows up, you realize that a man and a woman is fighting over $500. It is not the amount. They are fighting over. There's deeper. The man is nursing deeper wounds inside, where how we have been raised to be the breadwinner has eroded. Your power as a man is gone. So you feel so empty. And the only way to do that is to now build new theories in your head on how to control your wife, how to control your children. And in the process, we adopt draconian measures to do so. And it fails. So, when it comes to Canada, being a man, yes, men, you still have that authority, you still have that power, you still have that influence over your family. but it is not an economic influence as it is back home. Because we know back home, most wives stay at home, they don't work. The man goes and comes and brings money. Or most wives will do work such that the man's work is such that he'll be able to earn more to sustain his family. So he doesn't actually even pay attention to how much the woman is earning. But when you move here, it's different. Economically, it is different. So economic masculinity, if you want me to use that word, is different from Ghana and Canada.
It's more or less like economic castration.
Yes.
Of a man.
Yes.
So, if from what you've said, there's a lot into what you've said, and we've witnessed some of these things ourselves. So, how did you do it when you move here and you experiencing seeing all these things? You being the president for Ghana, you see things.
Yes.
You hear things.
Yes.
How do you manage all these things?
The first thing is being reasonable and compassionate. I think that's the first thing we should be able to learn. When we should be dynamic as humans. When things change, we have to learn. You know, and we need to be able to have open dialogue. Let's talk. Don't let us use assumptions, because it is through this dialogue that we are able to become better. Okay, those who have had successful marriages in Canada is through dialogue, understanding, respect. There's something I know that we'll get into another time, but there is this silence that a man goes through because he has nowhere to go, to air, to vent. So he bottoms all that up and keeps building up over time. Because when you call your friend back home to complain that, what is going on? You say, you are the man, deal with it. But the situation in Ghana, which the society helps protect, is different from here. Here, we are talking about equal rights, and that equal rights extends into the home. And as you said, that economic castration of a man is a reality here. And it becomes a shock to most men when they come in. And you know, I want to go back a little bit. In our process, when they are raising us up, of telling us that be a man, be a man, be a man, we indirectly become authoritative and bullies. And we extend those behaviors towards our children and our spouses. Okay? When you come here and you start exerting those bullying behaviors, where I said so, you don't question me because I said so. When it starts falling apart, it is very painful to see them fall apart. But it takes the grace of God and humility to realize that you're in a different environment. Things are different. And that's what I went through. I realized that this is different. Let me be open. Let me allow my wife to do what she wants to do. Keep her money. That freedom where you will not be oppressing or being a control person in the marriage, but rather have that ability and the freedom in the house where people can express themselves and do as they want, with respect, empathy, and compassion.
Thank you very much for such words, with respect especially, and compassionate. I still want to remind you that this video interview is sponsored by BB Labs, and we are very much grateful to them. Well, welcome back to the next question. Take you back to where you started, to where you ended. So, what is the difference between being a man back home in Africa, Ghana, and then being a man in Canada?
I think it's the same. It's the same. It is just understanding that you're in a different environment. That's all. You see, or I have to emphasize this, that economic power that has been given to us back home, that we earn so much more. Here, it has been diminished, that both man and woman can earn the same, or she can even earn more than you by not doing much. Women are more educated. So the dynamics are different. So when you, a man who grew up with our cultures and you hold on to them, and you see, every culture has a problem. There's no culture that is perfect. The system here is also not perfect. There are groups here and there are bad stuff here. So the system here is also not perfect, because the system here has gone through a lot of revisions, that there are some issues with the system. The same way there are issues with our system back home. So what I say is that you create a new system for yourself that works. Pick the good from back home, pick the good from here, and you blend it. So back home, yes, we have been trained to have that authority and have that go get us and use that to build up your family. When you come in Canada, use your ability to communicate more, use empathy, use compassion, be open, you know. And another thing I want to say, which is very different. Back home, how many women know how much their husbands earn a month? Right? Here, women want to know how much you earn, where the money is going.
Is it compulsory?
But they don't want to usually tell you how much. But hey, that is it. But I'm being very honest. They want to know where the money is going, because you know that when you come back here as well, when you travel abroad, the responsibility, and this is what I say, the societal pressure. If I were in Ghana, I don't think I will endure the same pressure as I endure now, because I've traveled.
But there are a lot of people who talk about, oh, when you travel, that's okay for you. Oh, you live good. It's good life for you.
Yeah,
but you don't see anything.
We have created that problem for ourselves. Those who traveled 70, 80, 60, whatever years ago, they always return home looking all posh, even when they are in debt. So we created a wrong impression. So when you are traveling, you know that you are coming to make it. Okay, there are my colleagues who are in Ghana who are making more money than I am making here.
Yeah.
But they are not enduring the same pressure. Okay? They are not enduring the same pressure. Even they want me to send them money, although they are making more money. You understand? There is a perception problem too on men, and this puts a lot of pressure. Sometimes you hear, hey, into Canada, you may see that over here. They want you to come and build in the village. You don't live in it. Nobody lives there. You build in Accra. Maybe you go and build in Kumasi. Go and build in Sunyani. Build houses all, and you don't live in them. You live here. And sometimes this pressure has led people to, when you go to see where people live here, you ask yourself so many questions. Why are you living here as a pauper and sending all the money home? So because of this, people don't even take good care of their health, because all the money is going home. Every 2 weeks when the paycheck comes, when they pay the basic things, the remaining money is gone.
So is it that some men want to show up, like, yeah, I mean Canada, I mean US, I mean this. Is it this issue that is creating this pressure, creating this demand from back home?
No, the demand from back home, that one is a societal expectation. It will take a long time to break it. But we are pressured to fulfill that expectation. You see the difference?
Yeah.
There's pressure on you to fulfill that expectation. It's as simple as it. If you go home now, people will be people expect you to come back wearing gold from head to toe. And so when people are traveling back home, they have to also look. Listen, if I was living in Accra and I was going to Away, I would have gone in Enika, Kaki. Nobody will see anything. But when I'm living here and going back to Ghana, they expect to see me in this grandiose attire, expensive jewelry. My watch must be. And even when you go home, where you even drink is different. So there are people who ship water from Canada to Ghana, so that when they go home, they can take that water around and be showing off. So when you go and do all those things, you feed into that expectation, and that expectation puts pressure on everyone.
Interesting.
And we the men, we bear that pressure the most. You know, so a man in Canada, there's a lot of pressure on us.
That is true. I've seen it myself, and I know you've also had an experience yourself sometimes. So this brings me back to a very big question. So, what do you like about being a man?
I think being a man is amazing. We are unique in our biological makeup. Um, society has set up very specific opportunities for men, and I mean for us to fulfill roles, for us to fulfill, and when you fulfill those roles, you are a very satisfied person. You can look down your generations and say, these are my children, these are my grandchildren, these are my great grandchildren. There are some people who can still use their names and tell you that I am an Odame-Ankrah. There are people who tell you I am a Kennedy. There are people who will tell you. So patriarchy has helped build legacies. So we have that privilege of building legacies. See, so that is amazing. It's a beautiful thing. But as I said, that comes with a lot of the pressure. But that, to me, is something that you have to love and protect, and also don't abuse it. That because you remember back home when people have kids, there was a saying, so and our fathers, which means that when the kids grow up, they will come and look for who their father's family are. What that means is that some men give birth and they don't take care of them, and they leave their children. But when the children become someone tomorrow, they show up, and then they will start playing on your emotional. They use emotional intelligence to get you to not turn back on them. I give birth to you, and society enforces this. They will come with elders and church leaders and pastors. If your father is sick, are you going to allow him to die? There's one man that I presume you have to read about him, Jeff Bezos. He was not born Jeff Bezos. He was born Jeff Jorgensen. His father abandoned him and divorced the mom. The mother remarried, okay, Bezos. And the man adopted Jeff, and he changed his last name to Jeff Bezos. When that man was sick, he refused to connect with that man until the man died. And when he was buried, he didn't go to his funeral. And when I read the story, I was so happy. Because we should not abuse our authority as men. Some men have abused this for far too long. They abandon children, they leave children to their fate, and when these children through their own means become successful, then they want to find a way to walk their way back into their lives. I have zero tolerance for that, and if you're watching this interview, I support you. If your father does not take care of you, do not take care of them when they are weak and they need you. It is fair, and it is time we need to take a stand against these things. I believe in fairness.
In this dialogue, we want to come on the table and talk about some of these things. Voice out, come out, and then let's discuss and share what we also think, or you think about what he's talking about right now. So, from what you just said, does it mean we have men in Canada who doesn't look after their children?
Oh yes, a lot of them, a lot. Either white men or black men or Asian men, a lot of them, and they just stop working.
Why?
Because when you work, the government will take child support and give to the woman. And because they have issues with the woman, they are divorced, they are no more living with the woman, they don't want to work and take the money to the woman, so then they will stop working. I know men who stopped working for 20 years until the children attained age of 18 before they started working again, so that they will not give their money to that woman for that woman to use the money to take care of their own children. Can you imagine? So that's what I'm saying. We should not abuse fatherhood. It's a big responsibility. It's an honor that I think society and religion has bestowed on us. So we need to honor that. We need to take care of our children. See, and taking care of your children does not mean that you should be financially viable. It is the intent. showing up, being there, being available is worth more than any money you can give to the children.
So, our last question. This is very deep. What you say is very deep, and I know whoever is watching, being a Ghanaian or not Ghanaian, there's a lot that you can take from this interview. There is this comments that one of our viewers also sent to us, and I want to read it to you so that you also share more light on it. So, how has the role of a man evolved in the last few decades?
Yeah, thank you. I think the role of a man has evolved mainly on economic grounds, and that has moved into the social fabric. To give you an example, types of jobs that used to be designated for men to do. Okay, now women are moving into those positions. There were types of professions that were designated for women. Men are now moving into profession. Now we have more men moving into nursing professions. Okay, we have more men moving into catering, chefs. But these were traditionally reserved for women. But right now, we are having a very good crossover.
Yeah.
Where men are going here, women are going there. So over the last few decades, there's been that evolution of change of professions. Let me give you a personal story. When I came to Calgary at the university, a bus stopped, and when I was entering, it was a woman driving. You see, when it was a visual awakening for me, because back home, how many women do you see driving the buses? Very, very rare. So when I saw it, I'm like, so I started paying attention and realized that the city of Calgary has a lot of female bus drivers. Like, this is amazing. See, let me give you, it means the empowerment that we are talking about, that role that we define for men and women is evaporating. And gradually people are starting to do what they love to do. See, I want to see men doing what they love to do. You know, I don't want to see a man becoming a nurse and people laughing at him. That's a feminine job. I don't want to see, you know what I mean? There shouldn't be job prescriptions that this is for a man, this is for a woman. Of course, there are some jobs, especially in our field, that traditionally will be very difficult for women to do. Okay? And not because I'm saying this to downplay the capability of women, but for example, you're going to climb a 300 feet stack and you need to carry about between 23 to 24 pounds of load on you to go and work up there. This is not an easy job. We have found very, very few women in our field because it is very demanding. And one thing that I said is most often, men, strength-wise, men are very powerful. Okay, if you sample 100 men, okay, their strength and their ability to punch, their physique sometimes can be a little bit overpowering. This can be very controversial, but this is based on personal observation. Okay, and so men have some natural features, and that can predispose them to certain jobs. That is okay, but I want to see the evolution of jobs crossovers continue, and to me that is a very big dynamic shift. And also when you come home to families, if she works to support the home, okay, I'm entering one controversial area.
Okay.
If she works to support the home, why don't you also support at home? Cooking, doing dishes, laundry, fixing things in the house. Because she's working. She's no more staying at home doing nothing. You're not the only one working to bring the money home. She's also working to bring the money home. So why do you want to leave her traditional chores to her? Because she's now taking over some of your traditional chores, providing money. So why would there not be that harmony? So yes, this is another area where I think the men's role has evolved in the last few decades.
This is very interesting to come today to come and listen to such words from you. I think you mentioned a whole lot of things from the interview. There's one particular thing you talk about that I have really thought of as well, about where do men go when they are in crisis at home. So this is very powerful, and we will come back to that interview because we need men to speak on this issue. We need to find solution to some of these issues as to who a man is and how far we can go. And we are very much grateful to you accepting us to come today to come and have this dialogue with you. If you're a man listening to us today, I will entreat you to get time and listen to some of these words. Pick what you think and where you think you are lacking, and then build on it. It's not shameful for a man to voice out. No, it's not. We have to come on the table and dialogue and bring our issues to an end. So I'm very much grateful to you about some of these things you've shared with us, and we thank you very much for your time as well. In ending our interview, what do you have for us that we've not talked about?
Well, what I would say is that it is great to be born male. As it is right now, society has an expectation for a man, and we need to embrace that expectation. It is our responsibility to change the narrative as well, so that we can reach out and speak up and seek help when we are in crisis. Most men are ashamed to seek help to make them better. There's nothing shameful about it. Look for a safe place where this can be done. And I believe that men's self-dialogue is providing such a platform where you can hear other men talk about their experiences in life, about their expectations and how they've developed from there. So I want to thank you all for this opportunity, for having me on your show. And I want to encourage you to continue doing this show because men need that space. They need that shoulder to cry on. They need that space for someone to listen to. And sometimes the only space where we have is our mothers. A man can call the mom and cry on the mom. There's no shame about that, and the mom will comfort him. But when that is gone, when he loses that space, it becomes very difficult to have somebody he can confide in. And usually our confiding in our spouses is very difficult. So there should be a space where you can have that. So let's seek for that. Let's bond together as men and start having these honest conversations. And through that, I believe that something good will come out of it.
Thank you very much for your time with us. If you want to listen to more videos, click on this button and subscribe to our channel. We have more interviews and more videos coming up. And we are very much grateful and thankful to our sponsors, especially BB Labs. If you want to get a good skin, try the cream. Thank you very much.